wait to show you guys this. No, it's over here. Perfect. Got it. Excellent. Locked in. Is it true AOC might run for president? I think it's not unlikely. I think it's not unlikely. The reality is like it's years away. I think the biggest hurdle is like the fact that Gavin Newsom would probably win a majority of the vote, but she might not want to lose like a primary in 2028, and she might wait to 2032. The thing is, it's also like 2028 is a long ways away. So much shit can happen. Like literally so much shit can happen. So all right. This Reddit lies tweet. This is probably like top 10 worst Twitter accounts. Don't worry, I'm like top 5 for sure. But this is like top 10. Oh God. They tweeted out this Reddit post with the caption, stunting our bright kids for the sake of the bottom quintile is going to ruin this country. Let's read it, shall we? They're basically saying send our fan base to the mines. We'll get there. This post actually like, it caused me psychic damage. I mean, honestly, I'm at the point now where I think most of Reddit is written by AI, and it's AI that's learning off of Reddit posts that are AI. Like, I believe in dead internet theory for the vast majority of Reddit. Someone showed me that there's a good chance the Am I the Asshole subreddit is like totally AI at this point because all of the posts, all of the top trending posts are written in the same format. They have the same highs and lows. They always have like the same sort of sentences and the same formatting. And yeah, it's not good. It's not good. But now I've been trying to find, and I haven't found. Oh, I think this is it. Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's read it. Let's read it. It's from the Our Teachers subreddit. It says, "My high achievers are starting to notice their hard work doesn't matter. Sixth grade teacher in an SBG district, standards-based grading district. We are not allowed to take any points off of late work, and because creativity visual appeal on projects isn't a standard of mine, I'm not allowed to grade it. Meaning one kid who has a poster with nothing but some words written in pencil gets the same exact grade as the kids who went above and beyond. They've started to notice that kids who turn in things late face no consequences, and kids who do the bare minimum get the same grade as them. One of them said to my face, how is it fair he turned in his project late with nothing but pencil on his poster, but mine is on time and creative, but we get the same grade? Can I 800 for things that never happened? All right. I didn't know how to respond appropriately, so I asked my admin what I should say, and they told me to tell them that life isn't fair. So now I have kids catching on to this, refusing to work because they know that they can do this whenever they want with no consequences. And then when they do work, they do the bare minimum because why would you work harder for the same amount of credit? Honestly, I can't blame them. I would do the same exact thing if I was in 6th grade now. I don't know how to solve this problem because, quote, if it's not a standard, it can't be graded. Now, I'm teacher here, this is bullshit. Now, when they talk about standards-based grading districts, I'm not sure what that entails. I've looked into it to try and find these districts and how these grades are graded, but every single school that I've read into, it doesn't explicitly say anything about like late work. It doesn't specifically say anything about extra effort. I haven't read anything about this. All it says is that standard-based grading is that students and teachers have an agreed upon standard, and you have to follow that standard. Sort of like if you took a physics test, you and your physics professor would have a standards-based agreement there. I'm using agreement really loosely here. That maybe if you misspell, I don't know, like precipitation or something, you won't lose credit when the question was asking, how does precipitation work? Right? Like you explained everything and you misspelled something in a science class. You're not going to lose points for the misspelling. Because that's not, that again, you understood the concept that the class is trying to teach you. It's not fair for you to be, have points removed for whatever. Standards-based grading is a things. I'm just going to read it out loud. Standards-based grading is a things that is 1 to 4, and it's based on whatever the state standards are. Also, generally, only summatives are graded. A lot of the other work is not. Teacher here, I've had some version of this happen, but not this explicit. It's more than a little too truncated. I guess I'm a little confused by your definition or explanation of it. It depends on the district. In my district, standards-based grading is set by the state, which can be bullshit. Okay. Well, can you describe, for the teachers that are actually in chat, can you describe what specific standards have been set? Sixth grade teacher here. Oh, damn. Chat kind of going in a little bit. Sixth grade teacher here. This person is idiot. You should not grade on creativity as that is subjective. We're core subject teachers. We aren't art teachers. On top of that, there are ways to ensure you can grade on illustrations, color. For example, if my students are working on a historical drawing, I grade on the fact that the drawing is historically accurate with realistic color. I don't care how beautiful the illustration is. Okay, so yeah. I mean, again, I'm just going off of like what the definitions are online, which just say you have these standards. You grade based on these agreed upon standards. You don't grade outside of that. Here's the rubric. You get graded on this. You get graded on this. You get graded on this. Okay, perfect. Now, I don't know what specific state this person, let's get back to the post. I don't know what specific state this person is talking about. I don't know which specific district this person is talking about, but I have never in my life had a class, had a school, had a teacher where late homework wasn't deducted. Like where points weren't deducted for late assignments. I've had teachers who said they won't even grade my assignments if I give them in late. I've had teachers that say, hey, you can, this has happened a couple times. You can hand in the homework at the end of the class, at the end of the year, but that's on you. You know, it's up to you if you want to do it. I've never had a class year go by where every single teacher said, well, according to the district, I can't mark you down for late points. I've never experienced this. Maybe, you know what? Listen, I've had, I think like maybe 1 or 2 classes where the teacher said, you can hand in all the homework at the end of the class year. I don't care. It's just going to make your life harder. And you're like literally not going to do well on the exams because you don't do the homework. I've had very, very understanding teachers. Late submissions were never / hardly punished in my school. It's weird. Oh, okay. Well, again, I'm not a teacher. People who are teachers can tell me about this. You can describe your experience teaching. All right. You can describe your experience with your higher ups telling you that you have to take in assignments on late. You have to accept late assignments. In my experience, I've had teachers that don't care. I've had teachers that care a lot. More often than not, I've had teachers that have like 50% reduction in grade. And then literally after a week, I think like the next week, they'll accept it at 50%. And then the week after that, they won't accept it at all. Same with when I was in school. I always stuck to doing homework on time, but it always made sense to punish me for tardiness because then it lowers the bar for everybody else. Yeah. There was a lot of grace during COVID for late work. Retakes, however, we're getting back to the higher standards and expectations that we had pre-COVID. Okay. The thing that I don't understand here, the thing that's very confusing to me in this post is the creativity part. I'm going to be honest, chat. I am, as a nerd, former and current, I went above and beyond on all my homeworks, on all my extra credits. Okay. All my notes were color-coded. I had really bad handwriting as a kid, so I would go home and rewrite my notes. And when I would rewrite them, I had like, my gel pens and everything. I would highlight the sections. I would rewrite them for my sanity because I couldn't handle having ugly notes. And I had like, math is always red, science is always green, etc., etc. And all my shit was super organized. When I handed in homework assignments, I was one of those students that would like write in different colors for different parts of the homework. So like I would rewrite the question in like blue and then I would write the answer in like pencil and then I would highlight or like I would put a box around the actual answer. Science is green. What is wrong with you? I'm sorry, chatters. Science is green. Don't be delusional. Don't be crazy. Oh my God, stop. English is blue. English is blue. Math is red. Science is green. The rest are all debatable. All right. Math is blue. You're literally wrong. You're actually incorrect. I don't know how you could be so incorrect. Math is red. What about math says blue to you? Think with your brain, dude. Hello? English is yellow. Okay, you know what? I will take English as yellow as a second option, okay? English being yellow also works. That one works in my brain. I like that one. Okay. Anyways, math is absolutely blue. You guys are so wrong. Okay, sorry. I'm getting distracted. You guys are... And then there's this chatter. I just use a single giant binder. You're sick. You're fucked up in the head, okay? I would get ill. Looking at students like you. I'd be like, they would like take out they would open their backpack and it's just papers everywhere. And I'm like, oh. And then they're like, let me find it. And they just like are taking out assignments from 3 years ago. I'm like, I am the fucking, what's it called? Not Willy Wonka. Walter White gif. where he fucking drops to his knees. That's me. That's me. Oh my God. That shit like caused me so much psychic damage. Seeing students do that in front of me. It was like, oh. Anyways, more to the point. As a student who would turn in assignments that were pleasant to read, because when you're friends with teachers, you realize all the things that students do that piss them off. And I was like, I will never be this student. Because also think about it in terms of getting graded. Do you want the person that is supposed to be giving you a grade to be suffering while they're trying to give you a grade? Like, they can't read what you wrote because you wrote it in fucking chicken scratches. They can't tell where the answer starts and where the question ends. And it's like, they're going to have such a headache by the end of it. They're going to give you dog shit credit and dog shit points. They're not even going to give you any leniency. And I will tell you, you were friends with your teachers? Yeah. Anyways, I would do like like I'd write the question in one color, I'd write the answer in another color, and then I would like highlight if it was like a math problem that you were supposed to explain, or like even like a history problem or whatever. I would write the major word, the important one, in like red. So I would make my assignments pleasant to grade, as pleasant as possible. So that when you're reading it, you're like, ah, yes, nice, excellent. And I will tell you, I didn't ever get like extra credit for that. Although I did get extra credit for other things in that similar vein. But I did get like more leniency for things. Like there are ways to reward students who go the extra mile without violating the rules, if that makes sense. Although it is kind of a violation of the rules. Like I had teachers who, if I would get something wrong, they could tell that I really tried on my homework and that I tried to make it as pleasant as possible. Okay, but what do non-autistic people do? You think a non-autistic person was rewriting all of their notes from class? That they would come home and rewrite their notes? That they would color code maybe it's just a girly pop thing. I don't know. Anyways, I feel like you did this more for yourself than for your teachers. Well, it was a mix of both. But anyways, I had teachers who, if they saw that I put in a lot of effort in a homework and they saw that like I did a calculation wrong, they would still give me credit for it. They'd be like, I saw where you fucked up. Well, they wouldn't curse, but they would say, I saw where you messed up here. I gave you full marks. Make sure in the next homeworks or whatever to make sure that you add the right numbers. Like they would just give me sort of passes for things because they could tell that I was trying so much more. Or they would say, hey, you messed this one up. Just rewrite it, hand it to me tomorrow, and I'll give you full points for it. Like they would write on the thing, like rewrite this, hand it in tomorrow, whatever. All of that is to say that in my experience, teachers that I've had, when they see that you put in a lot of effort as a student, they try to give you more opportunities. They try and help you more. They try and give you the ability to make stuff up more. Like a lot of teachers I had that didn't give out extra credit, if I asked them, do you give out extra credit? Just the act of asking made them give you extra credit. Not every teacher. Some teachers were horrible. Some teachers were fucking hard asses. And they were like, no, you have to follow all the rules no matter what. It's like, man, pretty writing privilege? No, this is not pretty writing. I would go home and rewrite my notes because my handwriting was so bad. Because I had like chicken scratch handwriting that was not readable. And I would go home and I'd be like, oh, time to transcribe this. And I would painstakingly rewrite all my notes neatly. I taught myself how to write correctly. But anyways, so I kind of like, I'm going to be honest, I kind of like don't buy this post originally. I already don't buy most of the shit that's on Reddit. But also like from my personal experience as someone who was a straight A student who tried really hard in most of my classes, I will tell you my teachers, most of them forgave me for certain things and they gave me extra tries and extra attempts on things just because they could tell that I tried. And they didn't necessarily give it to other students. Like other students who always turned in their assignments late, it always looked like shit. Like students who were turning in their assignments and there's like crumbs on it and it's stained and it's not readable. I would see those students be like, what? But like you can tell they worked on it that morning. And they're like, but I just got like 3 wrong. Come on. And they'd be like, I don't care. Turn in your assignment correctly. I felt like I tried really hard in my classes and I had teachers that were like, I can tell you just made a mistake here. Just turn it in tomorrow. I had a crush on this girl that used to do that with her notes. It confused the hell out of me because she'd go home with bunk notes and the next day, all her previous pages of notes were dazzling with different colored pens. I gaslit myself for most of the year and didn't understand what was happening. That was me. I'm not joking. I'm really not joking. I was so embarrassed by my handwriting that like I forced myself to fix it. I was like, this is disgusting. Like I can't show my face to anyone. I can't show these notes to anyone. Like, ew. Like, again, I'm not joking. It would be like Like I'm I'm right. I was so happy when computers came around because then I could just type all my assignments, but like bad grading policy. And my notes, I'm not joking, they looked like this. And I could read it. I would go home and be able to read it. And then I would go home and be like, okay. All right, let me use the other gel pen. Okay. All right, let me take out the highlighter. Okay. This should be underlined. Okay, perfect. Anyways, so sorry, I already don't believe half the shit that's on Reddit, but also this post especially, I don't believe because of my personal experiences. And hey, you know what? Maybe there are schools that like, they're like, if you ever give any leniency to a student, the fucking admin, the administration just comes and fucking shoots you with a gun. I don't know, all right? But in my experience, my teachers, they gave me a lot of opportunities and they could tell that I tried really hard and they allowed me to amend a lot of mistakes and they gave me, even if they couldn't give me more points, like I would turn in my fucking science projects or whatever and there would be so much effort. Yes, there'd be so much effort. And even if they couldn't give me more points for the same assignments, they would give me other opportunities, right? Like if I happened to have a late assignment, or if I happened to get something wrong, or if I was missing for a specific class, like they would sort of hand wave it or give me opportunities to fix it. They saw how much effort I put in here. And so in other instances, they would try and give me other effort here. But let's just pretend like the post in its entirety. Did you graduate valedictorian? No, because by the time I hit senior year, I like didn't give a fuck. Okay. Anyways, let's just pretend like that's true for just a second. Okay. Let me just, for a second. Why punish me? Because y'all want to be try hard? Well, you're not getting punished, right? If you put in the bare minimum on every assignment, the absolute bare minimum, and you're the type of student that like when the teacher asks a question and nobody raises their hand, you're one of the nobodies that raise their hand. And it's not fun. It's like streaming with no chat. Not fun, dude. Not fun to be a teacher and you're asking like, all right, and who said this? And no one raises their hand. And at some point I learned like, I can't raise my hand on every question, even if I know every answer, because then I just look like a loser. And also the teacher gets tired of calling on you. So I'd be like, every other question I would raise my hand. And half the time, I had social anxiety. Half the time I did it for the teacher, okay? More than half the time I did it for the teacher because I felt bad that nobody ever did the reading, that nobody ever did the homework, that nobody ever paid attention in class. And I was like, why does no one raise their hand? Stand up. Oh, I hate standing up. Fuck. But anyway, sorry, I'm getting distracted. I was one of those students who never raised their hand. I get it. I do. I understand. I do. I got it. I get what you mean. I get what you mean. But let's just pretend like all of this is true, right? For just 2 seconds. This is honestly like a good mindset to have in our current fucking dog shit job economy. I'm not even joking. I got rewarded so much in school for putting in all this extra effort. Like my teachers absolutely noticed how much effort I put in. They noticed how hard I tried in all my classes and they rewarded me for it. And then I went into the job force and I've worked a couple office jobs. I've worked a non-office job. And you put in so much effort and you put in fucking hours you don't need to put in. And then you ask for like a raise or you ask for literally any type of reward at all. And it's like, sorry, we can't do that. We just can't do that. I'm sorry. I will like never forget the sting. I worked at this real estate firm for a little bit and they were pulling from, oh my God, it was like the inefficiency was actually like driving me crazy. They would pull from like public databases on like homes and he had a bunch, this fucking corpo small time boss or like small tyrant boss. And he had a bunch of unpaid interns and he would just make them go in manually and fucking write this information down. And I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck why are we doing this? Hello? You can pull CSVs. What the fuck is happening? And I literally asked my boss, I was like, can I just take the day to work on this? Because this is insane that everyone is spending hours doing this. Just give me a day to like figure out whatever fucking you need to do to just pull this information automatically instead of having people manually do this. Like there are formulas you can use in Excel that don't make people have to fucking go in and manually type this shit. We already have macros for this. And he's like, okay, sure. And I spent a day doing that. And I showed it to him and he was like, wow, sick. Literally like what used to take hours took minutes. And I went in and I taught every single person how to do it. Went back to my usual job. Didn't get extra pay for that. And I did this for multiple things in his firm. Like multiple problems he had that were not automated, I automated them. They fired all the interns. The interns are unpaid. He didn't fire them. They're unpaid. I think there was like a $500 stipend at the end of like 3 months. And then I did, you do not understand how hard I carried this firm. And I was like, I went in to ask for a raise, and I was like, hey, can I get like a raise? You know, first of all, I've done all of this shit for you. And I work like twice as hard. I do twice as much work as everybody else in here. And I'm going to be honest, the reason why is just because I like working. That's the real reason. I actually do like working. And also, I get really bored easily. Unless it's like the same mundane task, which sometimes kind of is therapeutic, I get bored at work. If it's too boring, like if it's not hard enough, if the task isn't challenging and there isn't a problem to solve, I get really bored. So I'm like, you know, I'm willing to do this work. Whatever. Long story short, I go and ask for a raise. I am worth like 3 people at that job, which I respect the people who don't work that hard, because again, then it makes my work look more impressive. You dream of labor. I do. I'm sorry. Okay. I asked for a $2 raise. I'm pretty sure I was making less than $15 an hour. And he said no. And I was like, well, then I'm just going to quit. And he's like, okay, can you stay for 2 weeks to train the next person? I was like, for my coworkers who will be fucked when I leave, I will stay. Because that's the only reason anyone ever stays and helps out. It's for your coworkers. It's for my coworkers that are going to get fucked over. And I stayed. And I felt really bad because the next in line for my job, which was a lot of work in a day, they were like begging me to stay. They were like, please, no, I'm going to be so fucked when you leave. And I was like, dude, I'm sorry. Like, tell him to give me a raise. I'm sorry, man. And then 2 weeks came by and I left. And I was like, damn. Lesson learned. Never put any extra effort into a job unless you get financially rewarded for it. Never, ever put any extra work in. Because if you're not going to get rewarded, what's the point of putting the extra effort in? So like low key, even if all of this is true, it's like, this is the standard we set up in our workplaces. Shouldn't kids learn the standard we set up in the workplace? Like I feel like I was kind of deceived by the public school system and thinking that like all the extra work will pay off and you get things for it. And then I went into the workforce and I was like, wait, this sucks. What the fuck? What do you mean I can put in all of this work and it doesn't matter? You became too important. Big mistake I've made too. Yeah, it's just... Can I be honest with the post? The reason why is because LAUSD considers D a passing. I took full advantage of that shit when I was in high school. LAUSD's huge criticism is getting kids in and getting them out in the school system, essentially, especially in poor areas. If you're LAUSD student in a rich area, that's different standards, but also you're right about the trying part. Teachers will definitely give you extra for trying. I mean, yeah. Read my chat history for a teacher's opinion from my wife. Oh, I'd love to. My wife says, at least in Texas, while teachers have to follow sometimes overly strict guidelines for lessons, they have some freedom in grading, but the amount changes between school districts. Pedagogy, the school administrators have, etc. Creative work should be graded with more leniency due to art being subjective. Students have less access to materials like markers, etc., based on poverty, either the family's poverty or the poverty of the community causing the teachers/school to have less ability to provide those materials instead of having them buy it themselves. Also, effort can vary due to unknown factors. My wife had a student that was not allowed to leave the upstairs bathroom while her father was home and was not allowed to turn the lights on because it was a waste of electricity. Student did her homework in there, and there were often mistakes and writing in odd places due to a lack of light. CPS did nothing to help this girl, although the school called multiple times. The girl was graded with more leniency once she finally bravely spoke up about her abuse. There's many factors. Some administrators or principals may know information the child tells the school counselor about, but the teacher may not know the cause, so it might be right might just be told to grade with leniency without knowing why. It's important to build a good relationship with students so they feel safe enough to let you know their situation so you can be better equipped to actually teach them. Standardized grading has many problems and is inequitable for the most part. There are other methods of teaching that don't include teaching to earn a grade. When grading isn't a factor, teachers are forced to find more effective ways to measure students' learning and also become better teachers. Yeah. Unfortunately, spitting, I'm afraid. So like, yeah, I mean, I never saw students that wrote only in pencil for like a poster project and was like, hey, why did they get an A and I also got an A? Because it's like, yeah, the assignment was solve this problem and create a project based around it. They did it. They deserve that grade. That's fair. What I cared about was like the teacher. This is like actually so pathetic. I'm actually such a loser. What I cared about was the teacher noticing that I tried hard. That was my reward. I didn't care if other kids got the same grade as me. I just appreciated the teacher knowing that I cared. Because again, sometimes when I think it was very rare that a teacher ever asked me for a doctor's note if I was missing, if I was absent. Because they were like, you get perfect grades, you try hard in every assignment. You're not missing school for fun. Like teachers never hounded me on days that I wasn't there. Which again, just because other students are benefiting from the same leniency doesn't mean that you aren't also getting other benefits that other students maybe can't see, right? So anyways. Oh, that's the whole post. That only took us fucking 40 minutes to fucking get through. Unlike the discussion we just had, which took us 40 minutes, Asmongold had much more simple thoughts about it. Society would instantly and dramatically improve if we took the bottom 5 to 10% most R-worded kids out of school and put them in coal mines instead. Almost all Western cultural problems are derived from adherence to the false god of equality. This would literally be over half your fan base. You would lose half your audience if this was true. You would not have half your audience if this was true. Because they would all be in the coal mines. It's also fucking stupid. Because again, how are you measuring this? Grades? Yeah, grades sure are a good way to test the intellect and the value that an individual has in society. Oh, come on, dude. As someone who got fucking straight A's, I will tell you grades are nonsense. They are bullshit, okay? They are so nonsense. Because I would see kids that tried so hard and they would still have like worse grades than me. I would see kids that would study for every exam. They would have fucking flashcards for every test, for every quiz. They'd be so prepared and they would still get lower grades than me. And it's like, I'm sorry, those kids should get punished, but me, my lazy ass that just shows up, falls asleep in class and then gets an A because I already really love this subject and I've already read up on it like a week before or whatever. Or like it just clicked for me because there are certain subjects that like as a kid, they just kind of click for you faster than other subjects. Certain subjects just take more effort and time. Like I hated English. I had so many bad English teachers in a row that I grew to hate English. Whereas math, dude, that shit was just like, that was just simple for me. It was just easy. And I'm sorry, what? I should be rewarded because I didn't pay attention and was able to get straight A's? But the kids who studied super hard and still were getting D's, they should be punished? What a joke, dude. Are you fucking kidding me? That's not a good way to build a society. Okay, we're not doing grades. What we're doing, IQ. We really want to go down the eugenics tree on this. We do. How are you picking out the most R-worded kids in this hypothetical? Because I will tell you, grades aren't a good option. IQ is not a good option. It also doesn't take into account, excuse me, that kids with worse grades, like that chatter mentioned, the reason that their grades might be worse, it might not be that they're more R-worded. It might be that their circumstances are more difficult. I mean, like a big thing that I take for granted is that my parents were very strict on grades. Like I already liked school, but I was expected to like school and I was expected to get good grades. I remember my first C that I ever got, I literally was like bawling. It's really pathetic, I'm gonna be honest. Like being fucking 15, getting my first C and being like, no, why did this happen? How? You know, like, man, but I take that for granted, right? Like, I knew a lot of kids who their parents literally didn't give a fuck. Like, their parents, they didn't, I mean, I was friends with kids their parents weren't abusing them, but they just didn't care. Like, I'd be like, wait, so you just go home and like, what do you eat? And they're like, I don't know. I just go to the store and buy something. I'm like, oh, well, like, what about when you get bad grades? Then what? And they're like, then what? Don't you get yelled at for getting bad grades? No. My parents aren't home most of the time. They like show up maybe like 8 p.m. and then they go to bed. It's like, oh, you guys are right. Sorry. When I was thinking of the term abuse there, I was thinking of it as like an active versus a passive. Neglect is abuse. Yeah. But I was in like awe the first time I met those kids who like, they're like 12 years old and they're like, yeah, I just mostly eat junk food because I can't cook and nobody in my family cooks anything. And I just get whatever grades I get. And as long as I graduate, it's fine. I think. Honestly, if I don't graduate, it's probably fine too. And I'm like, oh my God. My parents were strict, okay? My parents were fucking strict parents, all right? I had a curfew. I mean, they're Arab parents, immigrant parents are like that. I had a curfew my entire life. I'm like 20 something. I still have a fucking curfew, all right? I had to get good grades on all of my exams. Okay, I basically didn't have a room. I had to share a room. My desk was just in the living room. Like I had computer rights taken away from me all the time. I had to deal with the belt many occasions, on many, many occasions. Okay. Like I had a very strict childhood, very strict parents. But at least they cared about me getting good grades. Like I take that for granted. I take that for granted that like this was something that I was expected to take care of. Yeah, the belt was more normal back then, chatters. Well, I don't know that it was ever normal. It just existed more often than it does now. Most kids who do bad at school like me are likely not getting the best education, probably also neurodivergent. And that's the other problem, right? Like my ADHD made me hyper fucking focus. I was very competitive from a very young age and ADHD as fuck. And I just happened to really like school. Like I happened to really like learning. Like I just kind of got lucky that was what I liked video games and I liked learning. So like imagine if you have ADHD, you're undiagnosed and you fucking hate math. Then what the fuck do you do? And it takes you hours to get through some shit. Cause I know like that's how I felt about English class. That's how I felt about fucking book reports. I always wrote book reports the day before. I mean, you guys know I don't really like reading fiction. And I always just read the fucking Spark Notes. Man, bringing me back. And I always wrote my papers and I was like, well, whatever. Because the way that I saw it was I had so many bad English teachers where I would try so hard and I would still get C's and D's. Like not literally C's and D's. I would get like the C and then they'd be like, rewrite it. And it was supposed to be like this. And then I would get the A. But it felt like no matter what I did, I would still do it wrong anyways. And I would still have to redo it anyways. So who gives a fuck? I'll just turn in my first. If she's going to tell me what I was supposed to write, then I'll just write whatever I feel like writing the day of. And then I'll just rewrite it. Because it doesn't matter, right? All of that is just to say, like, this is so fucking stupid. Like, how do you find the most R-worded kids? How do you confirm that those kids, that they're actually the dumbest kids? They're unteachable. I reject the premise. And that the reason that their grades are low, it's not because they're dealing with abuse. It's not because they're dealing with neglect. It's not because they live in like a food desert. Because there's a lot of kids, by the way, who like aren't getting fed. How the fuck do you expect kids to be able to pay attention in class when they don't have food? Your brain is not working, especially as a kid where you need the nutrients more than any other point in your life. And I would know because the days where I skipped breakfast, I didn't pay attention at all in my classes. I didn't get anything. So how do you know that the kids aren't dealing with some type of neglect or abuse at home and that's why their grades are bad? And that's why they come off as stupid. How do you know that they aren't getting, that it's not a poverty issue, that they literally aren't getting enough food? And that's why they can't pay attention in class. That's why they can't do well. How do you know that the kids aren't just like, again, neurodivergent? That like, maybe they should be medicated and that would change their life and they aren't. And that's why they're struggling in school. And that like one prescription is the difference between that kid getting D's and them getting A's and being able to enjoy classes. Like you just don't have any way of knowing that the currently most R-worded kids aren't currently in situations that are causing them to be R-worded. It's just pathetic. It's like, it's just so stupid. Like I reject the premise to begin with, but also how would you find these kids? And also, how do you confirm that all of these kids don't have issues in their lives and that's why they're doing poorly in school? So on the very premise, insane, by the way, insane. Also, I'm sorry, there are other countries today, China, that we can look at and we can copy what they're doing. They're not putting their students in fucking coal mines. They don't pick the dumbest kids and say, okay, to the coal mines with you. Like, look at the school systems. Look at Finland. Forget about China. China's communist, whatever. Look at Finland. Students frequently outperform, Finnish students frequently outperform American students in terms of like just general knowledge, ability to retain information, how much a kid knows at any point compared to an American student. Look at those kids and see the school system that they have and compare it to the school system we have. We treat our teachers like shit. Okay, we pay them nothing. They have to buy their own fucking school supplies. And God forbid they give out a school supply list to the students so that the teachers can all get mad at them and be like, what do you need a bunch of markers? Just buy them yourself. They're overworked to shit because they have to teach like 30, 40 student classrooms, which is not fun. You can't give specialized education to every single student when you're teaching a 40 student class. And they're expected to teach from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m.? And then go home and grade all of the assignments for another 2-3 hours. Wait, 40? Yeah, in a lot of poorer neighborhoods, students have to, there's like 40 student classrooms. Like, of course teachers aren't going to be, and like, I'm sorry, this is something I will criticize about American culture. American culture relative to other countries, we do not value like doing well in school. Do you guys ever, sorry to be a weeb, you guys ever notice how in like anime or Korean shows, Korean dramas, or like Japanese dramas or whatever, the popular kid in class also has perfect grades? It's required. You can't be the popular kid that everybody likes without having perfect grades. There's like no American culture movies or TV shows where that's true. That doesn't, that like stereotype or like that ideal doesn't exist. The most popular student in American culture is usually the one that like is just cool and fun to hang out with, jock, whatever. Unironically, like, yeah, this is the one thing that Ramaswamy has said in the past decade that is accurate, that there should be a media culture shift to valuing caring about school, caring about intelligence. But the thing is, so much of the Republican narrative, so much of why Republicans stay in power is by talking about the left, by talking about Democrats as elitists, that they think that they go to these fancy colleges and suddenly they're really smart and they're better than the rest of us. I mean, it's class warfare, right? And they have to push class warfare because that's the only reason that they get elected. Because you undervalue education to the max. You are anti-intellectual to the max. Which, what does that like tell students? School is dumb. School is stupid. I don't need to care about this. This is not what's going to help my life. If you tie caring about being studious to popularity or to some other positive image, kids will care more about school. Like this is very easy. This is very, very simple. It's very straightforward. JD Vance literally said and quoted, "The professors are the enemy." I mean, it's just so dumb. If you see somebody else doing something really well, like why are you reinventing the wheel? This is like starting a PoE run. Or no, let's go even more simple. Playing League and being like, you know what? I've never played League before and I have no idea how this game works, but I'm going to buy my own items. I'm going to come up with my own item build. What? I'm going to pick the runes that I think are good despite knowing nothing about League. No, somebody else already did this. Pro players already did this. Just go to fucking op.gg. All right? You fucking idiot. Hello? You don't know anything about this game. What are you doing? Full AD Sona. Perfect. Tank top Jinx. Perfect. Other countries have already, I don't want to say perfected the school system, but have made vast improvements to their students' abilities to learn and get good grades and get higher education. Why the fuck are we reinventing the wheel and saying like, yeah, put them in the coal mines. That'll fix this. Instead of, I don't know, looking at what these countries have done and being like, actually, that is a pretty meta build. Actually, wait, they might be onto something that is pretty meta. That looks like it'd be pretty strong. That is pretty strong. It's just, again, it's just stupid. So, but that's not the reason why I'm showing you guys this. All right, because it is, realistically, Asmon was incredibly poor, low education, no real future prospect. He just streamed every day and happened to work out. Assuming you implement his idea, he would have been streamlined to the mines before he got a chance to blow up on Twitch. I mean, I can't speak on like, I don't know what his education was like. I don't know what grades he got, but he currently strikes me as pretty anti-intellectualism in terms of like schools, right? I mean, he's pushed the woke DEI thing in terms of our education system. He thinks that unironically it's become woke DEI. He thinks that the colleges don't teach anything. Like, who knows? Maybe he was a straight A student. You know what? Maybe he can pull up the receipts. He can pull up the report cards and show us that he was actually a straight A student. Not gonna lie, the $1,000 Gucci shirt would be easier to defend if it wasn't so ugly. Finally, someone who's base, dude. Oh my God. Yes. Yes. I agree, dude. I agree. But Chad, I wanted to shift gears into making fun of